everyone. I'm excited to be here today. This is another Monday, making a difference with Sandra Uko. And what is it we're having today? We're having a made show. Made show, the acronym, that's an acronym. Made as making a difference every day. We're all called out to make a difference in our world. Everyone God has created, God has created them with a unique gift, a unique potential. And sometimes people are yet to harness what their potentials, what their giftings are. And so that's why they're not making an impact in their world. So to every creature, to everyone that God has created, there is something that makes you unique, that makes you stand out, that makes you different from the other person, that makes Stephen different from Sandra. And so that's why we're here today to share our story, what we have learned, what our giftings are, how we're using it to impact our world, because we're all called to be a difference maker in our world. You can imagine if everyone in the world is making a difference in their world, the world itself will be a better place. But before we go into the show proper today, my name is Sandra. I'm a leadership coach with Maxwell Academy. I'm a trainer. I'm also a best-selling author, an IT sales expert, and also a member of the Toastmasters International. And just recently got gifted the Presidential Lifetime Award. I'm excited, very joyful to see a new day, and today we have a great guest with us. His name is Mr. Mike Stevenson. But before I bring him on board, I'd just like to let you know, get your water, get your coffee, and get relaxed and share the link with others so that you can be a blessing to them as we bring this great guest to share a story with us. Thank you so much. The next person you get to see is Mr. Mike Stevenson. Hey, I'm so excited to have you, sir.
Hello.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good to have you.
Hello, I'm delighted to be here.
So we like to know you. My audience would like to meet with you. What have you been up to in your world? What's your business like? What do you do presently? Just tell us about
Well,
yourself and how you've gone through life, telling us about
okay.
your story.
Yeah. Well, it's quite a story to tell. So, right at this minute, I echo what you started out saying, because I think we live in a very confused and troubled world at the moment. And I think we need voices to speak about what's possible with humanity. I'm a great believer in humanity and its ability to be resourceful and creative in times of difficulty. So I speak. I speak to all manner of audiences. People call me a motivational speaker. It's not a description I like because it makes you sound a bit fluffy. But I do. I've lived a life, and I use my experience to help people to find, that they to discover that they have talents beyond measure,
Mm.
and they may not have discovered them yet. So I try and elicit them. And I do so against the background, I'm 74 now, years old, that is. And that's not dog years, that's human years. And so I've had a lot of experience. And I do believe that when you've lived a life and you reach my age, that's the time when you're most useful in the world because you've got some accumulated wisdom. And I want to use that for the betterment of the world. So my story, I was born in 1950, so it's a long time ago. And for the first few years, I lived in Edinburgh. My mother was Lebanese, and my father was Scottish. And we were then taken to Pakistan. My father got a job in Pakistan, so I lived there for 3 years, and that was a great experience. But coming back, it was so strange coming back from Pakistan to Scotland, and we came back midwinter. So you can imagine, I've never experienced a temperature like it. So one characteristic of my childhood, I hated school. I never enjoyed a single day at school. So I was expelled at the age of 15, and I can't tell you how joyous I was. I think I've found out since that I've got ADHD. Okay, so that might explain this lifelong inability to listen to someone talking at me for hours on end, which is what it's like in school. I didn't take to it at all. And so I left school early, not by choice. I played the guitar and sang, and I did quite well in that. Then I went down to London to make my fortune But unfortunately, it didn't quite pan out that way. I got a job, and within 3 weeks, I was given the sack because I was told that none of the customers could understand my Scottish accent. So there I was, out of work. And when I went back to my accommodation, I told my landlady, she said, well, if you're out of work, you can't stay here. So I ended up sleeping out. Now, so I slept out for a year in London. Um, and it was both hellish and heavenly in a way because it was uncomfortable. In the winter, it was cold. You were trying to find places to sleep at night. But on the other hand, it gave me a sense that I could survive anything. And, I learnt a lot about myself. I learnt that I was resourceful, that I could communicate. I used to help people. There were other people, of all ages, sleeping out at the time, and you become someone that's kind of on hand to help those who are getting too old, who have got a drink problem, who've got a drugs problem. So I became very involved in that. And then I went to Dublin and played the guitar and sang on the streets in Dublin, in Ireland, that is, and became friends with Thin Lizzy, the band, who were just setting out at the time. And so I found this love of performance, if that makes sense. And, I can't put it any clearer that I loved having an audience when I was singing and playing the guitar. So I did that for a few years, and then I did lots of jobs. I worked in steel, building, construction, um, food production, hospitals, hospitality. I did just about everything until, when I was about 21, I became a community worker back in Edinburgh, and I worked with young people, not much younger than I was. I was only, in my early 20s, but I loved working with people, and I worked with some of the local gangs. So I got a lot of reward from that. I found that they respected me. I think it's because I'd lived a bit of a life that they listened to me, and they took on board what I was saying. And I've since, this is many years ago, but I've seen how a couple of these youngsters anyway have gone on to great things, which is amazing because at that time they were being written off. I'd been written off before that. And today, lots of people have been written off. And I find that a particular challenge because no one should ever be written off. No one should ever be discriminated against. No one should be dehumanized. All of these things, and we've got into a situation now where all of that is coming to pass. You look around the world and what's happening. So after that period, I went and set up a business, and I had a creative business. Did, advertising, marketing, design, and for 20 years, was doing extraordinarily well. I had money in my pockets. Things were going really well. And then the banking crisis came along, and it wiped the business away because all of a sudden, all the things we were doing just hit the floor. And that was horrible. But, again, when you fall, you have to get up again. And that's when I started doing the speaking, and that's what I've been doing ever since. And I absolutely love it. It's combining the experience I've had with the wisdom I've acquired with the fact I like performing and I've got a voice.
Yeah, we all love a voice. That's true.
Yeah.
Awesome, awesome. One thing that strikes me was one word you said, that people should never be written off. People should never be dehumanized.
Well, yes, look, I was written off. Um, I've also experienced, when I first came back to Scotland, my mother was a Lebanese, so she was different. And at that time, there were very few immigrants in this country. And, I got a bit of that. But I look around the world just now, and we have got into a situation where it has become so easy to dehumanize people by applying names, like we've got in Israel, Palestine, human animals. I mean, it is grotesque. And it's so easy for people who have got malign intentions to, ascribe names to people that, strip them of all their dignity. And it's a terrible thing to see in the world. And I'd hoped we're past that. But, all of a sudden we're back in a period in history where we do dehumanize people. We apply names. We talk about supremacy, and there is no supremacy in the world apart from people who do more good and more good and more good. They're the ones that have got something to talk about, something to bray about. I mean, who is anyone to assert supremacy because of their color, because of their religion, because of the nation they represent? It's absurd. And, I find it very easy to speak against because I've had my own experiences. And, I've spent time in different parts of the world. So I know the Middle East, for example, and, some of the finest people I've ever met are, Palestinian, Lebanese, and Jewish. I don't have any prejudices. And I just don't understand how easy it is for some people to fall into that trap. And I think it's because they're not really thinking. They like other people to do their thinking. So they join groups, they join political parties, they join cults, they join gangs. And I've never been a member of anything, really, apart from the human race. So I I speak against this, but I I also laugh in its face because you have to be really pretty stupid to believe that you, because of your color, are superior to anyone else. You have to be pretty stupid because you look around the world and you see people with the most enormous talents, for singing, for dancing, for art, for all manner of things. I mean, India has got more um, computer graduates than America's got young people. When you think about that, you think about, Southeast Asia and how they're right at the cutting edge of artificial intelligence, as is America. How Britain is now, Google were at this tech conference in London last week, and the guy who represented Google said, "Look, we'll invest in this country, but you're going to have to bring in a lot of highly qualified, intelligent people from other countries into this nation to take the jobs because you don't have the quality of graduate." And of course, he meant, it'd be India, be South Korea, it would be Taiwan, China, because that's where a lot of these talents are. So this idea that we've been brought up in a kind of notion of the world divided into, those who are sophisticated and those who are not, well, it's completely turned over now anyway, hasn't it? The best speakers I know in America are all black because they speak from the soul. They speak with their emotional intelligence. And the best speakers do that. Does that make sense?
That does, because you speak
It's
from
absolutely,
the
yeah,
part of empathy.
absolutely. And also the background with the church and, the beauty of the service, the singing and the happiness of the services in the churches that I've been to in southern states. And so we've got
I think,
talents all over the world,
yeah, we do.
and we're just not hearing it. We are not giving people the chance to shine as they should be. So that's my
And-
mission.
Oh, there. That's awesome. That's a great one. That's a great one. And I want to applaud you after being all through these and you're still using your experience. You know, some people were like, you know, when life has, you know, has been tough on them, it is said that hurting people hurt people. You've been hurt in life, but you've decided to use your experience, your bad experience, your hurting moments to be a blessing to the world. That's awesome. And when you spoke about, you know, people writing people off, one thing that rings a bell, the golden rule that says treat others as you will want to be treated. So if you dehumanize people, you would in return get it. And that's why I tell people, how do you want to be treated? How do you want to be addressed? And if you want to be addressed like a king, then to address every other person around you as a king and a queen. So that, you know, if we do that, you know, like I often would say, we would all have a better and a positive impact on one another, rather than, because God is the only supremacy.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah,
no
yes.
one should believe because of their color should be above any other person. And that's why one thing that rings the bell. If we all embrace the word, the golden rule, as in you treat others, whether black or fair or whether black or white, we treat them the way we want to be treated.
Yes.
It will be a good place for everyone to live, rather than having discrimination and the rest. I applaud you and I say thank you for your experience and using your experience to impact the world. That's a great word. At least it is said that a graveyard is a place where you have a lot of talents that people never get to use. But you know, now you are using yours to be a blessing to the world. So I want to say thank you. I also want to thank our viewers and our audience. Thank you for being on this show. Thank you for being and it is said that a leader is one who knows it, who does it, and shares it with others. So we are all leaders called in different spheres. So please, if this has been a blessing to you, the story of Mr. Mike Stevenson, please kindly like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and help share. Let's be a blessing to the world. Like I earlier said, if we all go out to be a difference maker, the world itself will be a great place to be. I want to say thank you, Mr. Stevenson, for making that time out of a busy schedule. Thank you so much,
pleasure.
sir. If you've made it this far into this video, thank you for watching. And don't forget to subscribe so you can support your girl. Thank you.